In 1969, Iowa Public Television hit the airwaves. Let's join Dean Borg as he explores what was happening with the state fair 50 years ago.
Well, 50 years ago, 1969, was a tumultuous time in this nation. We had just had presidential assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King and Bobby Kennedy. We were in the Vietnam War. That's the era. And Jessica Rundlet, who is the new superintendent at the Iowa State Fair's museum, you weren't here either, but you do know what the fair was like that year.
Yes, in 1969, the fair was gaining a sense of permanence here on these grounds. We'd went through an era where the brick animal barns had been constructed, the same barns that are in use today, and there were several brick structures on the grounds. And the late 60s were really a time that food was becoming more of a thing at the state fair, as we all know it today. A lot of the temporary-ish food stands were constructing physical buildings, like the Steerenstein, which is out on the Grand Concourse near the grandstand today. It was first in its physical building for the 1969 fair.
That's why the Port Tent still calls itself the Port Tent, but it's a building.
Exactly.
So they were building buildings. They must have thought, hey, this fair is going to stick around. I think we'll build a building instead of a tent every year.
Yes, we're committed to this East Side Fairgrounds.
Oh, so, talking about being committed, there's a little brochure of that time, 1969, and here they were discussing urging the Iowa State Fair Board to purchase land outside of here and move the fairgrounds.
Yes, to move the fairgrounds out to the west side of the Des Moines metro area, out on Interstate 80 and 35, move it out there for easier access and to prevent the area from becoming cluttered with filling stations and junkyards, according to the brochure.
That northeast or northwest section of
Yes.
Polk County. But so at the same time, they were building permanent food stands
Right.
here and other buildings. There were people urging to move the fairgrounds to the west side of Des Moines.
Right, but by 1969, 1970, the fair had been here for over 80 years. The first fair on these grounds was held in 1886.
Yes.
So there was already a sense of permanence and tradition at this location.
And just here is the brochure from that 1969 fair, and their theme was the Roaring Twenties. In other words, they were thinking back into good times because in America right now, it was quite convulsive.
Right.
So the state fair, at the time that America was changing, the state fair was saying, we're going to be here for a long time. I think Ken Folk may have been the fair secretary of that time.
Indeed, he
a
was.
very innovative person.
Yes, and he really worked to build the fair beyond being just an agricultural exhibition and making it a fair for all Iowans, no matter where they made their homes.
And that's where we are today at the Iowa State Fair.